And we are live with the Black Comic Lords in the building. And it's time for Wakanda, Whiskey, and what's up, family?
Happy New Year to everybody.
Yeah, man. Happy New Year to you. How was your holiday?
Man, my holiday was great. Was at home for 2 weeks with the fam. Had a really, really good time. Almost hated to come back, but all my stuff is here.
Home is for you is Oklahoma.
That is correct. Tulsa, Oklahoma, where Black Wall Street was.
So what's there now?
Yep. Where Black Wall Street was, not as many black businesses, that's for sure. As y'all know, it was destroyed back in 1920, but there are several businesses there, but not like what it was back in the day. A lot of memorial stuff, but nothing like it was back in the 1920s, the early part of the 19th century, or 20th century, I guess.
We seem to got a whole black and gold thing going on right now.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's for something specific, but yeah, I like that hat.
Thank you. So let's say what's up to the people in the chat. What's going on, chat? Doth Verse in the building. Happy New Year, bro.
I like that image. Happy New Year. Bot Boy versus. Good evening.
Frustrated Fan Sports Show. Always a pleasure to have you in the house.
Frustrated. Who you got on Monday? Washington or Michigan? That's what I want to know. Where do I need to put my money?
Louisiana Kid, what's up?
Yes, I am from Tulsa. I was going to say born and raised, but not quite accurate. But I was definitely raised there. Went to school kindergarten through 12th. So, yeah. And as I've said probably in this space before, even though I was raised in Tulsa, went to school in Tulsa my entire life, never knew about Black Wall Street until literally about 6 or 7 years ago. They never taught it in school, ever. I grew up literally about 5 miles away from Black Wall Street, probably less. Yep. Good night. We just got here. What are you talking about, Gordon? Good night, all.
It's a greeting, fool.
Oh, okay.
Happy New Year, he tells you. Dothverse, same to you two brothers and the homies in the chat. All right. So this is Wakanda Whiskey and Blurdom. We always get it kicked off where we sip a little something, talk about our favorite superhero of all time, Black Panther.
T'Challa, specifically, for the
It's,
anti-cast out there, because it's a mantle. Don't forget now, it's a mantle.
how absurd is it that we actually have to distinguish and specify T'Challa in this day and age?
You know, because there are a lot of people who have a platform and they probably really shouldn't, and they do a lot of talking about stuff they have absolutely no knowledge of. But yes, when we say Black Panther, we mean T'Challa. Washington, Michigan. Wait, go back to that one. I want to see that. Michigan's going to have a hard time against the pass. Penix and those dangerous receivers. Listen, Penix is that dude, and the fact that he did not win the Heisman is very, very surprising. But I'm going with Michigan. My money, I got my $3.50 on Michigan. Anybody, any takers? Kim.
Asking what's the topic? Just join you just in time. We haven't got to our topics yet. First of all,
hold on 1 second. I got to send a shout out to Kim. Kim is a very, very good friend of mine, longtime friend. I've known her. I'm not going to say how many years, but it's been several decades. And when I went to Houston for the Final Four, I stayed with Kim. That's my girl. What's up, Kim? All right, now.
Bo Big says Michigan is going to bully Washington.
I agree, Bo. Well, I'm not going to say bully. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be less than 7 points. It's going to be the final outcome. I'm going to say 37-34. That's my final tally.
I'm sure Jim Harbaugh has done his homework.
He's not. This would probably be his last game, to be quite honest. He'll probably end up like in San Diego.
He's going to the NFL. He's done.
Yeah, he's done. He's done. But my money's on Michigan. I got $3 whole and 50 cents for anybody who wants to try to take it.
All right. So, what are we sipping on, man?
Well, I didn't feel like buying anything new. So, honestly, I made an old-fashioned with that Greenwood 1906 that we discussed a couple of months ago.
Okay.
Greenwood is a Black-owned distillery. The whiskeys that we've been talking about for the past 6 months have all been Black-owned. The brothers are here out of Atlanta, and they named their whiskey brand for Tulsa, for the Greenwood area of Black Wall Street. And this particular expression is 1906. So as an alpha, of course, I had to get it. I've been sipping on that a lot recently, and I'm really, really enjoying it more than I did during the initial pour, maybe because it had to breathe after I popped the cork. But yeah, I'm just sipping on the old fashioned. I'm almost done with the bottle, so this will be all that I have tonight.
Well, you got a salute from Bo Big because we got our first super chat. Thank you very much, man. Let's find you the super chat video. Our producer, Derek, is not here helping me out with this. So he's got things all scrambled up all over the place. But here's to you, Bo Big. Appreciate you.
Donation. It's a donation. I thought it was the trash. Don't be hitting on me.
Thank you.
That movie came out over 30 years ago. That's crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
You know what I was listening in my car today was Ice Cube's Death Certificate from 1991.
Yep. That album came out when I was stationed in the Philippines. That had No Vaseline on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's classic.
In my opinion, one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time.
I don't know if I would say the album was one of the greatest. I know that diss track is probably the greatest diss track of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So what am I sipping on? I've tore through all my Black-owned whiskey except for some scraps left of my BSB and some Uncle Nearest. Got a couple swallows left of that. So I'm just drinking some Basil Hayden tonight. I actually used a lot of that BSB. The BSB was the one that was owned, I believe, by Jamie Foxx.
Is that the one that was really caramelly or whatever?
It's called brown sugar bourbon.
Right.
I used this with the
Eggnog.
eggnog, like I said I would, and it was actually delicious.
Here's what's crazy.
Absolutely delicious.
I've never really been one into eggnog. I bought some, did not crack it open. I don't even know what the expiration date is, so it may have even expired at this point. So I don't even know if I'm gonna try it, but yeah. I'm all about the apple cider and whiskey.
I feel you. Let's see what else people are saying in here in the chat.
Oh.
Frustrated says, I still wish I could have sent that Maryland whiskey to you. Oh, you missed it, Mark. He tried to send us whiskey, but realized you can't send that, I guess, from whatever state he's at through the mail.
Okay. UPS exists because I may or may not have sent somebody a bottle that they couldn't find at their local shop or whatever. So yeah.
Sure as hell wasn't me. You ain't sent me nothing.
No, it wasn't you because you didn't give me any money. They did.
I would have given you money for it.
Okay, sure. I hear you talking.
Frustrated agrees. Death Certificate is one of the best albums ever. I agree, man. Let's shout out to Eric Guapo. Kimmy Cook says hello again.
Yep.
That Black Panther hat is slick. Thank you very much, sir.
It is. I have one that's very similar to that, except the colors on mine are black and red.
I saw that on the, I don't know. Frustrated says, pause. What am I pausing on, man? What'd I do? Texans, really. Pericles Dragon Ball's in the house. What's up, man? What's good, everyone? An NBA Live girl. Welcome. All right. So whenever we've gone through our whiskey portion. So what we have next, this is Wakanda whiskey and blurredom. And we always pay homage to our boy, T'Challa. So, I mean, we had a Black Panther book that came out last week. Did you get a chance to take it out?
I did. As I said, I was gone. Man, we haven't done a show since like November, maybe even October, because I was really, really busy and I was behind a lot and I never caught up on Fridays. But I was gone for 2 weeks, as I said, went back home, came back, picked up my stack on Wednesday. And Black Panther was one of the first ones that I read, Black Panther number 7. Before we talk about 7, 6, I know that 6 came out last month. Black Panther number 6 was really, really, really good.
Let's do that. Let's check. Let me go to 6 and let's talk about 6.
Yeah. If you've not read 6, there are going to be spoilers, so that's on you because that book is over a month old at this point. We tend not to try to give spoilers on books that came out on Wednesday, even though it's Friday. But this book is, a month old. Black Panther number 6 was really, really good. Eve Ewing was in her bag on that one. I really enjoyed that one. And the reason why is because she introduced a previous Black Panther from the early 20th century, from the 1900s, right. That I don't recall ever seeing or hearing about before. It was, I don't remember the character's name right now, but it just the introduction of yet another Black Panther into the mythos, I really appreciated. And it wasn't something that was just 1 or 2 panels. The entire book, Black Panther number 6, was about that specific Black Panther in time.
It was.
And I really enjoyed it. It showed how the big bad of the current run, Kivu Ma, how he was created and formulated. And he's over 100 years old. Black Panther number 6 shows how he came into being. Really, really enjoyed it. The only thing I didn't really like, though, was it's anachronistic to me that in 6, back in the 1920s or whatever, the Wakandans had guns. But then when you think about jungle action of the 70s, like Paul had mentioned before, the dudes were carrying spears. So it's like, okay, so when did they go back to the spears versus the guns? It doesn't really mesh well. But that's just one slight criticism. That's probably Black Panther number 6 is probably the best issue that Eve has done on this run to me.
Well, that's saying a lot. Yeah. As I've said before, people have to be patient. Eve Ewing has indicated that she wants to have some time to spread her wings and develop a full blown big time story, because writers like, Bendis or Hickman, Zdarsky, they take 12 issues to develop a story and no one bats an eye. But oftentimes, a lot of these black creators, they only get 5 or 6 issue runs. And so, they don't get enough time to cook. And she's cooking. She's cooking. She's obviously developing things. She's making new characters. She's expounding, making larger the backstory of what Wakanda is. I loved issue 6. I love the creation of Kivuma. I love the fact that she's delving into Wakanda's mystical side, which is something that we talked about.
You know what would be cool is if they showed whoever the Sorcerer Supreme was during that period. Now, I'm pretty sure that that Black Panther is never going to be discussed again. But if they go back in time and talk about him, it would be kind of cool if whoever the Sorcerer Supreme was in the world at that time, if they brought that character in. Because, we know Doctor Strange, we know the Ancient One. But as far as previous Sorcerer Supremes, that's not something that we really ever address. And Strange is one of the books that I collect.
I mean, it's quite possible it could still be the Ancient One, because the Ancient One is the Ancient One. 100 years ago, the Ancient One.
That's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Probably still alive.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
But yeah, man, I really dug the book.
Yeah.
I loved her world building that she's doing. Created this new character. I wish I had an extra copy of this particular cover, because that's the first cover appearance of Kivuma, which is kind of dope. I did. It's not over here. I got an extra copy of. For some reason, I found it dirt cheap. Extra copy of issue number 5, the one before this, which was the first cameo appearance of Kivuma on the last page. And I got that in a 9.8. But let's move on to the next issue.
Yeah, 7. This one came out just this past Wednesday, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So without getting into many spoilers on this one, I did enjoy it. The art, like, in this one, they have T'Challa in his undercover identity. And he looks weird. I just don't like the way that undercover identity character, because it's like a mask from, what was that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie when he was on Mars?
Geez, why am I'm looking at the whole
Man.
Total Recall.
Total Recall. Okay, so for those of you of a certain age who've seen the original Total Recall, not the more recent one with Colin Farrell, but the original with Arnold Schwarzenegger, he was trying to get to Mars from Earth, right? Mars was populated. And so he was going undercover. And he had this full face mask of basically a woman. And it was really, really elaborate, right? That's kind of what T'Challa is doing when he's not being himself. He's undercover. And he's got this mask on. And the mask that he wears, the brother is kind of, he's kind of crazy looking. It's ridiculous. But the story in 7 was good. I like how they have him, the T'Challa, going out into the city, doing more than just fighting crime or whatever the case may be. And he addresses that in the book without giving any spoilers. So, yeah.
What was cool about this issue was the fact that, we've done all this deconstruction of Wakanda, of T'Challa, right? We've had these issues, the last run and Coates' run, keep deconstructing T'Challa. This issue is also a deconstruction of T'Challa, but in a different way. Because part of my problems is that I'm tired of seeing the same storyline over and over again. But what they did here is they deconstructed T'Challa by taking him out of the Golden City, taking him out of his element. He's still in Wakanda, but he's in a part of Wakanda in a city that was named after his father that he's not really familiar with. This is the more common Wakanda. You know, this is the not the cool flying ships. This is the grimy Wakanda that he's not familiar with. And you know, his cousin, the lawyer, points out to him, look, you know, you're not used to seeing this portion of Wakanda. If you want to be a representative of the people, the protector of the people, you got to know who the people are. You don't know who these people are. Take your little persona guy and go walk amongst the people. Go catch a game. Go catch a concert. Go to a club. Get a drink. Find out who these people are.
Yeah, the issue was T'Challa was always kind of above the people. He wanted him to be part of the people and see what the people go through. Yeah. As an example, when you think about Bruce Wayne, he's got all of these identities where he's in and amongst the regular, average, everyday people. You know, he's got this character who works on the wharf and things of that nature.
Right.
That's something that T'Challa never did in his own city or in his own country because he was off, you know, fighting with the Avengers or in the Golden City. He never ventured out. So that's one of the things that Dr. Ewing has done that has been a benefit to the lore and the mythos of Black Panther, and I do enjoy it. Just some of the art, though, is just kind of off-putting to me. All due respect.
I dig the art. But I will say this isn't the first time T'Challa has walked among the people. He's done it before. Just where we've seen him do it before. Just not in Wakanda. He did it when he was in the United States.
Right.
There was a period of time where he went by the name Luke Charles in Harlem and was a school teacher. And he used that as an opportunity to get to learn what America was and who Americans are. This is back in his Avenger days. And then subsequent to that, when he lost his powers, he did it again in Hell's Kitchen, where he took over for Daredevil as the most dangerous man alive.
So he's done more walkabouts in America, it seems, in continuity than he has in his own country.
Correct. Correct. And think about it. If you're the king of the country, this guy is the most well-known person in Wakanda. His face is so well known and revered, at least it was, that any interactions he has with Wakandans is a totally different experience than what he has as, you know, Luke Charles or Okonkwo in the United States. This is his first opportunity to sort of be amongst his own people and see them for who they really are.
Yeah.
So
and then
brilliant.
When he's in his civilian identity, you know, they're not going to bow down to him. They're not going to show him any reverence. They're just going to treat him like a regular old dude because, you know, again, he's undercover. So
it'd be interesting to see how much you may end up seeing that he loves his people even more because he really gets to know them for who they are without all the reverie and reverence that he normally gets.
Yep.
So that's a really cool thing that Dr. Ewing did. I mean, people aren't giving this woman enough credit for her writing.
I've seen some criticism, obviously, about, you know, this version, and obviously you're not going to be able to please everybody at all times with all things. Personally, especially considering the last two authors that we've had on the book, I think she is clearly a step above both of them. Do I put her personally in the same vein as I would McGregor or Hudlin? No, not yet. But again, we're 6 issues in. It may reach that point, and it's, you know, we may get there. But right now, it's obviously, to me at least, significantly better than what we've had before.
Yeah, indeed. So check out Black Panther, y'all. Look, if you have not done so already, as Dothverse just said, please hit the like button. If you're not subscribed to our channel, we've got some new viewers here and there. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It costs you nothing, but the algorithm helps us to keep all of this going. So help a brother out. All right, so we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we are going to get into some of the other books that we have upcoming. See you in a sec.
Hello, hello, hello. Tim Fielder here, author of Maddie's Rocket, Infinitum and Afrofuturist Tale, and the graphic history of hip hop. I'm a visual Afrofuturist and graphic novelist. Buy my books. Go to Diesel Funk, at Diesel Funk on all social media handles. I need you to buy my books. Thank you, Black Comic Lords. Peace.
Shout out to Tim Fielder. If you have not purchased or read those books that he mentioned, I would strongly, highly, highly recommend y'all buy those books. This is not fan service. I read those books. Phenomenal. It's an experience, and there's a reason this man's winning awards for his writing and his storytelling. It's not often you come across comics or graphic novels that move the needle the way that his stories have, and they truly do. So shout out to Tim Fielder. The brother's a genius. So here we go. The next book that I actually enjoy that Marvel is doing. I actually look forward to reading every month. Is this dude right here, Blade. Shout out to Brian Edward Hill for putting down the best Blade story I've read in a while. Honestly. I mean, every issue of his run, I feel like, is like taken from a script from a movie. This man is writing Blade 4, or forget Blade 4, the new Blade for the MCU.
Not literally. For those who are taking this literally, he's not literally doing that. What Paul is basically saying is this version of Blade in the books should be Blade 4 in the movies.
Absolutely. And I dig this storyline for Blade, movie. I don't think we necessarily need to rehash his origin
at all.
It's pretty simple. Half vampire. They could do an opening sequence in 60 seconds to say who he is and keep it pushing from there and jump into the storyline. You got yourself a good ass movie that a lot of people would enjoy.
Blade 6 came out a while ago because I've actually read this issue.
Yeah.
It came out probably like in mid-December, if not November. And on the cover, you see Blade with Dracula. And as we all know, Dracula is the preeminent vampire on planet Earth. And in this storyline, Blade is facing this big bad who is like
Brian Edward Hill,
almost like an elder god, right? And Blade is trying to fight her, basically got his ass kicked. And so what does he do? He turns to his mortal enemy, Dracula, to try to get some tips and some fighting techniques to fight this elder god and defeat her. And it was really, really, really good. And for those who don't know, the author, what's it, Brian
Edward Hill.
Brian Edward Hill will be writing the ultimate Black Panther book when it comes out this year. But
he also previously wrote the Black Panther Unconquered book.
Okay, great. And this Blade book is a very extremely good book. If you have not read it, you need to pick it up. Every issue has been good. There has not been one low issue, so to speak. It's a very, very good book. Now, I never read Blade before. Even after the movie came out back in 1998, I never ran to the comic book store to pick up Blade comic books. I did not care about Blade. I liked Wesley Snipes as Blade, but as a comic book character, didn't care. During the Hudlin run of Black Panther, he appeared there. He may have appeared in the X-Men, possibly, maybe even the Avengers prior to the most recent versions. But other than that, I didn't care about Blade. Brian has gotten me to care about this character. Blade is an extremely good book.
And he's also done some world building, and also built out his power set, explored more his relationship with Dracula. I mean, this one singular issue, you had more introspection between himself and Dracula than I've seen anywhere else.
They're mortal enemies, but they're sitting up
Yeah.
here talking like boys. And shout out to
Not boys per se, but like they understood each other.
Colleagues.
They understand each other. It's like know thy enemy and know thyself is kind of the theme here, where you've had this mortal enemy for over 100 years, and you know this enemy as well as you know yourself. And that's kind of what Dracula's pointing out to him. It's like, I know exactly who you are, Blade. You've been fighting each other left and right. You've been trying to kill each other left and right. I know exactly who you are. Let me teach you about yourself.
And here's the thing, though. Dracula could have been an asshole. He could have been a straight asshole to Blade, like, you know what, fuck you and everything you stand for. Go on about your business. I'm not going to help you out. But to his credit, to Dracula's credit, he did. And it seemed, quote unquote, natural. Brian is doing an extremely very good job on this book. Blade is a very good book.
Yeah, I mean, the only criticism I have of this particular issue was the art, because the normal artist on it wasn't on theirs. This is a substitute artist. But that's literally my only criticism. The writing was on point.
I like the art, to be quite honest with you. I thought it was good.
No, there's nothing wrong with the art.
No.
It's just I prefer the other artist.
Right.
The regular artist.
For me, I didn't even realize it was somebody else. Like, you and I had discussed the Bloodlines book with Blade's daughter, and neither one of us, I don't think, liked that art style for the character. For me, the art style in issue number 6 was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I like the art.
You know, it's interesting also when I talk about the further developing Blade's character, because Dracula's, without giving any spoilers, Dracula's teaching him some other powers that he didn't realize he has. And I think we're going to get even more of that the next issue, which comes out next week. But what's interesting in terms of developing Blade, do you read Miles Morales?
No.
So Miles Morales, in the issues before this last one, came across Blade and his daughter. And Blade demonstrated the fact that he has artifacts, magical artifacts that are in part of his repertoire that we previously didn't know about. But it makes perfect sense, because Blade's 100, 200 years old, and he's been battling things that go bump in the night all this time, the mystical, the occult, monsters. It stands to reason that he would come across various magical artifacts that he would keep and use for himself to fight all of these creatures. So I thought that was a very interesting sort of expansion of the Blade mythos that Cody Ziegler did in the Miles Morales run.
Think about Doctor Strange. For those of you who read Doctor Strange,
right?
In his Sanctum Sanctorum, he's got all kinds of knickknacks and bric-a-bracs that have magical properties or mystical properties to them. So, like Paul just said, it would make sense that everything that Blade has done, he would come across that stuff, and once he, knocks off some vampire or whatever, he would keep that stuff for himself. My only question would be, where would he keep that? Because it doesn't seem like he has a base of operations like Avengers Mansion or,
He keeps it in his car.
Which is crazy. Which is absolutely crazy.
All right, so let's go on to our next book. Next book is Cyborg by Morgan Hampton, who we had the pleasure of interviewing before he started this book. We got to talk to him about this book and things that he was planning on doing. One of the things that he and I spoke about in his interview is the fact that oftentimes when writers come across Cyborg, they fall into the trope of going back to his daddy issues. And Morgan even expressed that that's not something he wants to do either.
However,
and to his credit, he didn't go as deep as many other previous writers have with that whole storyline, but there still was a tinge of that in there.
A tinge? There was a lot of that in there.
I was trying to be kind. A lot more than I had hoped that he would have used. What I would like to see in a Cyborg run is never have his dad show up at all. I don't want to hear any more storylines about Cyborg and his daddy issues. I just don't want. When they
That's
said Silas Stone had died, part of me, a small part of me, was like, good. Then he can get over his daddy issues, and we can just see the guy develop more.
but then they brought him back
But then they brought him back.
it, you know, when the book first started, issues 1 and 2, I think, were actually pretty good to me, and especially that vlogger. I can't remember the character's name right now.
Estelle Green.
Sure, that's the one. I really, really enjoyed it. I was looking forward to where it was going, but then, like Paul said, Pops showed back up from the afterlife. I was really, really looking forward to this book. It really let me
Shout
down.
out to Bloods Underground.
Yeah, I was disappointed ultimately in this book. It's not necessarily one that I would recommend people to pick up, because it was just meh. You know, I wasn't impressed with it at all. Blade, definitely impressed with. Cyborg, not so much.
Yeah, I mean,
Paul's trying to be diplomatic. At the end of the day, it wasn't ultimately a good book.
it could have been more. I think
It
they
could have
should
been
have
good, is what you're
simply
saying.
killed his father off for now, not had him be a part of the storyline, resolve his daddy issues, and focus on the fact that Cyborg is literally a freaking god on Earth. And here's what I mean by that. He's a member of the Justice League. Justice League, all demigods. Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Flash, Green Lantern, Superman. With prep time, even Batman is considered damn near a demigod because people view him as being unbeatable. But Cyborg is right there with these people. And for all intents and purposes, we live in the information age. This man is the information age. He has access to the entire internet. He can control all machines. He has nanites that allow him to morph his body into anything he can think of. And he's got a mother box that gives him even more unlimited powers, where he can create boom tubes to transport himself wherever he wants to. The guy is one of the most powerful beings on the planet, and you never get to see the brother flex like that. To his credit, Morgan has the character that Marc just mentioned, Estelle Green, talk about the fact that, like, you have all these powers, and all you choose to do is make an arm cannon. Like, can you be more creative with your powers?
Hammer. I mean, the best version of Cyborg to me was from Flashpoint Paradox, the animated series. I'd never read the book, but if you watch the animated series, that was about an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes. That's the type of Cyborg that I would want to see on a regular, consistent basis. This dude right here, he's basically like Blue Beetle at the end of the day. I was not impressed at all.
Frustrated said no one's done a great thing on this character. No, David Walker's had a great run writing on this character, and he expounded on the character, and dealt with the fact that, you know, he's got a lot more powers that just really haven't been delved into. I just wish they would just unleash the shackles, and I wonder if it's editorial that just won't allow the writers to cook on this character. This dude is like one of the most powerful beings on the planet, and like nobody gives him that recognition. It's crazy.
Yeah. During the New 52 Justice League, he was pretty well written. I did like him in that, but you know, he doesn't have a pantheon. The way he's drawn, sometimes he's drawn slim, sometimes he's drawn bulky. There is no consistent vision of the actual character that we can glom onto. I was not impressed with this book. Ultimately, the book let me down because, again, issues like 1 through 2, 1 through 3 maybe were good, but it just fell off the cliff for me. As an aside, there is a series on AMC. It was 2 seasons, 8 issues, 8 episodes each, called Pantheon. We were talking about Silas Stone, who is Cyborg's father. When you take that into consideration, right? I'm not going to spoil the series for you, but think about what's going on in this book as far as Silas Stone is concerned. I just found out about this series. Today is Friday. I found out about the series Wednesday. I finished it in a day. Well, I mean, it's only 16 episodes. Very, very, very good. It's called Pantheon. It's from AMC, I want to say. If you can find the series Pantheon, it's animated. It is very, very, very good. So that's all I want to say. John Styles, you talking about Cyborg from the Deceased storyline? I don't really remember him being in it like that because I loved the Deceased storyline. The character design was stood out for me during this arc. It stood out to me for not being good, personally. Like I'm huge into Teen Titans, right? Like I was reading the Teen Titans back in the 80s. That Cyborg I liked, right? This one, not so much. I'll have to go back, John, and read Deceased because I don't necessarily remember his character in that storyline. If you've not read the Deceased storyline, very, 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 very good. It's DC's version of Marvel Zombies, basically.
All right, let's move on to our next book. Now, going from somewhat of a disappointment to a book that has been a tremendously great revelation. Green Lantern War Journal.
Okay, that's
Let me
3.
tell
We're
you
on issue
something.
4.
Huh?
Issue 4 just came out. If you don't have it, that's 3.
Philip Kennedy Johnson is doing the Lord's work in how well this book is. Man, my League of Comic Book Geek site is not working. But regardless, issue 4 of this book, there's a sub-story in which John Stewart has gone back to Earth. And he's caring for his mother who has advanced dementia. His sister is no longer with us. So it's just John is the only caretaker for his mom. And he promises to his mother to not leave her alone anymore because of what she's going through. And that story really, really hits home. It hits home for me personally for personal reasons. But that very simple story is so well written. You're adding some depth to the character who doesn't get a lot of character development personally, at least not since maybe the 80s or 90s. Have you seen this much development of John Stewart personally? Which has been kind of cool. But on top of all of that, I love the fact that Philip Kennedy Johnson, instead of shying away from what the previous run by Jeffrey Thorne did with the character, is embracing it, expounding upon it, and making it work.
In a good way. And that's what's supposed to happen. Each writer brings their own spin to a character, and instead of ignoring what came before, it should lay the groundwork for what comes next. And like Paul just said, Jeffrey Thorne did a brilliant job in his 12-issue run on the character, and Johnson has built on that in a very interesting way. Now, some of this kind of confused me, I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm not gonna go into spoilers on issue 4 that just came out. I'll have to reread it and think about how he was doing certain things, and I don't know if I necessarily agree with it or not, but it is an interesting read, and it is not bad at all. So I do enjoy it. Yeah. So that's issue 3 that came out in December or whatever. Issue 4 is on the book stands, on the newsstands now. It just dropped.
I found the cover for 4. Let me pull that up so you guys can see that. Sorry about the technical difficulties we're having tonight.
Shout out to my
and that's
girl
the cover.
Tori.
That's the cover for issue 4.
Yeah. that the one I have? Yeah.
Had a nice little surprise guest appearance by Steel as well.
Right. Steel was in issue 3 as well. So yeah,
Some dope covers.
I like that cover. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, this covers. This is kind of from the aftermath of Jeffrey Thorne's run, where John Stewart has ascended into this other being. You see this other version of him from another dimension / time.
He's basically a god.
He's basically a god.
He's basically a god.
I thought was cool about this cover is that you see him using Steel's hammer to forge himself his own ring. I wonder if this is foreshadowing, because right now John Stewart doesn't require a ring.
Nope.
He has the green powers of Green Lantern, but it comes from within
his body. Yeah.
So I wonder if he's ultimately going to use Steel's technology to forge some type of ring to help regulate that power that he has.
Have you read issue 4?
No, I haven't read issue 4.
Okay, so that's addressed in issue 4.
Okay.
Yeah. So obviously, again, no spoilers. That's addressed in issue 4.
Well, that's what's up.
Yeah, and good, and shout out to Steel. I don't read a lot of Superman books. I don't know if Steel has his own book, so I don't see that particular character a lot in comics.
He just finished his own run.
I had no idea.
Steelworks with his daughter, his niece, Natasha Irons.
Okay, so real quick, did you watch Superman and Lois?
No, because I can't stand the Lois they picked.
Okay. In Superman and Lois, it is a CW show. And I know CW gets a lot of crap for its live action superhero content, but for me, just of late, because Arrow was most of it, the Arrowverse created back in 2014, whenever it was spectacular. Arrow, Flash, Black Lightning for me. All of those shows were really Legends of Tomorrow. All those shows to me were pretty good. Naomi, not so much. Superman and Lois has been really, really good. And the reason why I mention that is they have a live action version of Steel in that storyline. Not Shaq's Steel, all due respect to the Diesel. But this version of him, I think, is pretty cool. He has his daughter. That show is good. This next season, whenever it comes out, will be its last season. So I think that's 4, maybe 5 seasons of it. It is a very good watch. It's an entertaining watch, and I would encourage you guys to check it out.
Amir says Sterling K. Brown would make a really good John Stewart.
There's been a podcast that he was being interviewed for the movie that he has, American Fiction, with Jeffrey Wright. And the interviewer was talking to him because I think Nathan Fillion is in that movie, I guess. But she was talking about how Nathan Fillion's character, Nathan Fillion, is an older Hal Jordan. And she brought the idea of Sterling being John Stewart, and he did not seem opposed. Now, even though I'm typically against actors being recast as multiple comic book roles, his role in Black Panther was like 10 minutes. So I may be not too opposed to that. Frustrated fan says he's too old for the role. He's in his 40s. So, I mean, I would think that John Stewart would be between 35 and 45. So he kind of fits in that role.
Yeah, but you want someone who's young enough that can
and that's
do the
something
role
that
for a decade.
That's my argument for most of these superhero fan casts. And I typically agree with you. However, in this particular instance, I don't think Sterling for that particular role is necessarily too old, personally.
All right, so we have the final book that we're going to talk about before we get into our What You Watching segment. And of course,
we got to talk about Jonathan. We got to talk about Jonathan Majors at the end because we haven't talked about that. We got to talk about Jonathan Majors.
Sure. We'll spend a little time on Mr. Majors. One of the best books on the market. Killadelphia.
Yep.
Rodney Barnes just doesn't miss. I mean, let's just face it. This man's a genius. And he's an immortal creature of the night because no mortal man can be this prolific a writer at this high quality level unless they're an immortal creature of the night. I'm calling you out, Mr. Barnes. Another dope book.
That's
Another
issue
dope book.
32. Before we get to 32, 31, I don't remember from 30. This is a spoiler because this book has been out over a month. So if you haven't read it, this is a spoiler. Spawn shows up in this book. Spawn obviously is an Image character. He is the longest running Black comic book character I think ever, continuous.
Yes.
His book came out in the 1990s. Long story short, Spawn has been ongoing for 30 years. He's at issue 150, 160. He's up there. He makes an appearance in this book. That's why you see in issue 32, the middle image is of Spawn. I didn't anticipate that happening. I don't remember it from issue 30.
Yeah, he was in the last page of issue 30.
And I read that over a month ago, so I just didn't remember.
The book was on hiatus for a few months between 30 and 31.
Right. This was very good. I'm talking about issue 31, how it introduced Spawn, and Spawn is fighting against the vampires, which Killadelphia is about. Killadelphia is a vampire book based in Philadelphia, hence Killadelphia for those who don't know. Spawn shows up and he is wreaking havoc. And he's basically going up against a minor god, Anansi. And the dialogue that Rodney Barnes has with Anansi,
the dialogue of my boy,
and other dude, it's hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious. I am really, really enjoying his writing in this issue and the issue that Paul has up there, issue number 32, because they have folks talking to a literal god like he's just Jenny around the block, and it's funny. It is really, really well done.
The scene where Spawn is like, "You better watch the way you talk to me. I'm Spawn." And he's like,
"Don't nobody care about you and your little chain.
Nobody care about your little Spawn ass."
I sent you an image in the DMs if you find it or whatever.
I don't have access to that right now.
Yeah, well, it's really well done. It's actually humorous, is what I really appreciate about it. You have these creatures of the night. You have vampires. You have werewolves, and you have Spawn, etc., battling it out. But there is a lot of humor in these two issues that I don't recall in the previous 30 issues to this extent. Like Anansi is a very humorous character. The way Rodney Barnes writes him, really, really enjoyed it. And as an aside, at the end of the book, there is a separate story that is tied in about a character called Johnny Gatlin, and he is think of him kind of like Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider.
Yep, he's basically the Ghost Rider on the horse. Yeah. Okay, I don't know if you can blow that up or not, but that scene right there, I sent that to Rodney Barnes, and I was like, "Dude, you're a fool for writing that dialogue." That was hilarious to me.
It says, "Will somebody tell Anansi that Spawn is Spawn and that Spawn isn't intimidated by the rantings of a third-rate god?" And Anansi goes, "Your mama like it."
I literally cracked up reading that. It's really good. That's the only spoiler from that book that we're going to give. But if you're not reading Killadelphia, highly recommend it. It is a very well written, well illustrated. Shout out to Jason Alexander for his art in this book. Cannot recommend it highly enough. It is a very, very good book.
Frustrated points out, you got to talk about how Harriet Tubman made reference to a Killadelphia character. Look, look. It's been announced in solicits and articles and stuff on the internet. If you don't know, Rodney Barnes, in the next few months, we're going to have Spawn, Savage Dragon, Blackula, Nita Hawes, and Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer all in the same book. Maybe not simultaneously, but the fact that they're all going to be interacting with his Killadelphia verse. You want to talk about dope ass crossovers, man. Rodney Barnes is doing the Lord's work.
Okay, so we're talking about vampires. I'm gonna take this back a while to a movie, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. I don't care what anybody says, that movie was phenomenal. That was a very, very, very good movie to me. It's my understanding that there was a Harriet Tubman book kind of set in the same universe.
That's what we're talking about.
Right. Harriet Tubman
Demon Slayer. Or Vampire Slayer, whatever.
No. What wasn't it, like zombies?
It's right over. Shit, where's my book?
Well, anyway, I was hoping that there was going to be a live action version not long after Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, because that movie came out at this point about 10, 12 years ago. And it was very, very well done. Let me see. When did that movie come out? Abraham Lincoln. The movie came out in 2012, so we're talking 12 years ago. Anthony Mackie, a.k.a. Sam Wilson, was in that movie, as was Rufus Sewell and Dominic Cooper, a.k.a. Howard Stark. If you've not seen that film, highly, highly recommend Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. You should be able to find it like on Netflix or something like that. But yeah. Oh, another movie that's kind of like the same thing, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. You have these classic storylines and then you throw in some horror in it, right? Pride and Prejudice and Zombies came out like around 2013, something like that. That was also a very good movie. Something more than what you would have expected it to be. So if you can catch that one, that was a good one too. Did you ever see that one?
I haven't seen that one, no.
That one was pretty good also.
This is irritating me. Can't find my Harriet Tubman. I know it's around here. The comics are so damn unorganized right now.
How far behind are you?
In terms of organizing?
No, reading.
Not that far behind.
That means he's very far behind.
I read most of my stuff when it comes out. I just it's the organization that's driving me crazy. I got comics just lying around all over the place. Yeah. I knew I had one issue around here somewhere.
What issue number is that? Because I've not read that before.
This is issue number 2.
Oh, okay. So it just came out.
No, it's been out for a minute. Like, this isn't the current issue. I was just showing this for reference purposes. Harriet Tubman Demon Slayer.
All right, so I need to
shout out to David Crownson. Oh, just as a, do you have this?
What is that? Avengers what?
This is New Avengers 18. Remember the John Hickman run with New Avengers, which is really a Black Panther book?
Yeah, I probably do. Hold on. I'm pretty sure I do.
But do you have this cover?
Probably not. New Avengers. What volume is that? Do you know?
I don't know what volume, dude.
Well, probably volume 3.
It's probably volume 3.
Yeah, I do not have that cover now.
This is the cover that has the very first cover appearance of Mamadou Fall, and inside is the very first appearance of Mamadou Fall, which is one of the older Black Panthers.
No, okay. Yeah, no, I don't have that. So let's see. Put that on my wish list of things I need.
Let's go to some of these chat comments. Derek says, Anansi is declared chairman of the Supernatural crew in issue number 32. Frustrated says Demon Slayer. Angel Perry's in the house. What's up, Angel? I love Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
That was so very good. I've never seen that dude before or since. The dude who played Abraham Lincoln. Yeah.
Frustrated says it's up to issue 4 on Harriet Tubman.
Hopefully, I shouldn't have a hard time finding it.
John says Paul is flexing. That's not a flex, man. It's a regular comic book, man. Come on. Oh, you meant the New Avengers 18. All right, that's a minor flex.
Yeah, I've got that book. I don't have that that cover.
Most people don't. Minor flex. Chair being the operative word in chairman. Derek, that was a flex for you, Paul. Is it? Derek's throwing me a little shade. He's like, for you, that's a flex because that's a little minor flex. For me, that'd be a Tuesday because obviously I have better comics, is what Derek is saying. Because Derek throws shade at me like that because he is who he is. G-Town, great cover to an epic Avengers run. Indeed,
yeah, that was a really good run.
That was really a Black Panther run, to be honest with you.
I'm only missing one issue of that volume. I'm missing issue number 10. So there were 33 issues. I'm only missing one of them.
All right, so we're going to do another commercial. And we come back, we'll talk about what you're watching. Let us know what you're watching on television and movies, and we'll get into it. See you in a sec.
This is Derek Harrison of Black Comic Lords, and I'm here with Greg Burnham. You might know him from Tuskegee Airs. He's got several other titles, and this is a new one that's coming out in November.
November 22nd, Little Rock Files. It was a story that we originally did in Noir is the New Black, which is an awesome anthology y'all need to get if you don't have it. But we did a 6-pager in there, and we ended up getting asked to do a full book. So the interiors, I'm holding this one. These are 2 of the covers. The interiors are being done by Quinn McGowan, who did this book. Who did this poster cover, and then Marcus Williams, my co-creator on Tuskegee Airs, he did the art for this cover, and we also put like our original 6 pages in the book, just so you can have everything that we've done so far. It's a 1980s noir detective story that takes place in Little Rock, Arkansas. We actually put some reference some real things that were going on back in the time as far as the drug trade and dirty governors that turned into presidents, but that's a different story. Check it out, November 22nd. It will be in comic shops. If your shop didn't order it originally, get in there and ask them to get you a copy. We're trying to do some really good stuff with this book, and we appreciate you.
Shout out to Greg Burnham doing his thing, Little Rock Files. Go run in your stores, go pick that book up. I love how when he's talking about, stories kind of got, something about the drug trade. He's like looking over his shoulder. The dirty governors looking over his shoulder, like.
That's funny.
Our brother's doing his thing. Appreciate that. G-Town says he's got it. Cool. Marc, what's up, man? Just came in and heard Paul say New Avengers by Hickman was low-key Black Panther run. It was. It was technically Black Panther and his little friends. That was that book. That's what that book was.
Yep.
All right. So next segment. What y'all watching?
Jack Reacher. If you're not watching Jack Reacher, you are missing out.
I'm missing out, apparently.
Jack Reacher is really good. Did you watch season 1?
I never watched season 1 either.
Okay, well, I don't know what to tell you. It's an action-packed series about Tom Cruise played the character in a couple of movies. The movies did reasonably well because it had, original and a sequel. A lot of criticism about Tom Cruise playing the role, even though he's
4'11",
is a good action star, is the character is supposed to be basically a behemoth, right? Tom Cruise ain't that. The guy that they have playing him, I want to call him Alan Rickman, but it's John. What's his name? John Richardson or something like that. I can't remember his name,
It's
but
something like that.
Paul and I, well, I'm pretty sure that Paul and I both discovered him at the same time because he played Aquaman in Smallville. And I'll never
And
forget
Aquaman is what? The official superhero of who?
Right. I'll never forget this. So me and Paul back then, we used to, this is before social media or whatever. And both of us were watching Smallville when it came out, like in literally 2001. And then, what's her name? Chloe? Chloe and Clark are talking about who this dude is. And they, do some things on the computer. And they say, oh, his name is Arthur Curry. And he goes to the University of Miami. Paul and I both lost our mind. And we literally called, this is before texting and all this other shit, right? We called each other. I can't remember who called who, but like, oh my God, he went to the U, blah, 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 whatever. But it was, that's who that guy is.
Our school has an official superhero who,
right.
And it makes perfect sense because the superhero's colors are orange and green.
Correct. And if you watched Titans, he played Hawk in that. His name is Alan Ritchson. So those are the two shows that I know him from. I think he was in the Hunger Games too, but he's jacked. He's a really, really, really big dude.
Oh, he's the dude swolled up because he's always been a built dude. He was on a television comedy series called Blue Mountain State where he played a football player.
Yeah, I never saw that show, but going through his IMDb before, I did see that he was on that. I've never seen it, but
it was a hilarious show. But he is definitely swolled a hell of a lot more. And in fact, they said that people are starting to fan cast him as the next Batman as well.
Since Stephen Yeun has dropped out of being Sentry, people have fan casted him for that.
Thank
people
God
have fan cast him as Hyperion. There are a lot of different. He has a superhero physique. When you think of a superhero and how they should be built, not you, Brian Tyree Hill. That's the dude who you think of when you think of a superhero character.
Look, we fat boys need love too. Come on,
Jack. And that's my Morehouse brother and all, but anyway. Jack Reacher, if you have not seen that series, it is a very extremely good series. Highly, highly recommended. It's on Amazon Prime.
So some of the other shows people are watching. Power, Raising Kanan. Look,
I'm behind. I haven't watched that.
Bro, the whole Power universe. I love the entire Power universe. Is BMF considered part of the Power universe? Is that 150 Cent's thing?
No, I don't think so. I don't believe so.
It's got power-like tendencies. So does Godfather of Harlem. Also has some power-like tendencies.
Godfather of Harlem was spectacular.
Yeah.
And none of those dudes have ever been nominated for an Emmy. Sorry, but
it's a damn shame because that's serious drama on those shows, man. It's gripping. Yeah. And as Marc says, they're never nominated for an Emmy. Never.
Or Golden Globes or anything.
Nothing.
They're overlooked.
And it's that's as drama as it gets. It's a damn shame. Yeah. But love the whole Power universe.
But you know what though? I've gotten away from watching the drug dealer shows. As much as I love Snowfall, I'm like half an episode behind on that. I've not watched any of the last.
You didn't finish watching Snowfall?
I'm half a season behind on Snowfall. Like I watched the first 4 episodes or so of the last season. I haven't watched any of the last Power Book 2 Ghost or whatever it's called with Michael Rainey. I'm behind on that. I haven't watched any of the. It's kind of overplayed. You're talking about 4 different shows: Power, Book of Canaan, Snowfall, Godfather, Harlem, and we're all talking about the same thing: selling drugs. We as a people are more than just selling drugs. And I understand this drama. I understand it's entertainment. But at a certain point, I'm like, damn, can we have an ice cream shop or something?
As I said, it is a guilty pleasure. I know I shouldn't like it. I know I shouldn't support it. But damn, it's good television.
You know, Godfather Harlem is a phenomenal show. There should have been Emmy and Golden Globe nominations for Forrest Whitaker, for Vincent D'Onofrio,
Giancarlo Esposito,
and the gentleman who plays Malcolm X. I can't remember his name right now, but all 4 of those guys should have received Emmy.
Kingsley Ben-Adir.
That's not him. That's not Kingsley.
That's
Kingsley
I'm
Bennett-
thinking of the movie, the Miami movie.
Right.
I
One
know
Night
what
in
you're talking
Miami.
about.
Yeah. I don't. Do you remember the? I can't remember what commercial it was, but there was a commercial. Is this lady says to the dude, "Well, that's on the internet, and they can't put anything on the internet that's not true." Looking at that commercial, she's talking to that actor. So I remember him from that commercial, and he's now doing real acting. But he should have been Emmy nominated. He wasn't, because he does a great Malcolm X.
John Stiles talks about a show called The Brother's Son. Are you familiar with that? I'm not familiar with that one, man.
Slow Horses. Okay.
Hold on. Let's talk about what the people in the chat are talking about. Y'all been had one Black Adam went to the U2.
Well, The Rock, yes, he did. I've met him several times.
We'll claim that too. He says BMF is its own universe.
Yeah.
It's got power-like tendencies, though. Derek says, I'm a little behind on Invincible. Finished What If. Haven't had time to watch much. Did you watch Invincible?
Of course. Invincible was good. What If season 2 was brilliant. Loved What If.
God. Can we talk about the fact that Marvel's wasting its time with these damn MCU movies? They really need to be investing in their animation, because their animation has been spot on.
Yeah.
And that's saying a lot, because DC been killing Marvel in the
Paul
animated
and I
game.
we used to have this conversation 15 years ago, because about 15 years ago, there was a Doctor Strange cartoon that was actually really good. They had the Ultimates cartoon, number 1 was good. Ultimates 2 sucked. And then they had an Iron Man cartoon that was okay. But then on the DC side, they had the Wonder Woman. They had Green Lantern First Night, Batman, Superman, Public Enemies, blah, 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 and the list goes on. DC was killing it in the animation, and Marvel just kind of gave up. In the What If storyline, season 2 specifically, it has been absolutely brilliant. Each episode kind of ties into the other, even though it's kind of its own standalone. And they introduced a whole new character, a Native American character named Kahori or something like that. Listen to me. If you have not seen season 2 of What If, watch season 1 so you can get caught up, and then binge watch season 2. It is very, extremely good. Very good. And Invincible.
They don't have the same restrictions as you have with the MCU. They allowed Bill Foster to finally be a freaking superhero. You didn't get to see him in the movies. Giant Man. Goliath, Black Goliath.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of. I think he's appearing in season 3. I think they did a tease for him in season 3. I don't remember him in season 1 or 2.
You finally got to see him be a superhero. And moreover, to their credit, they have gotten the majority of the actors who played the original roles in the MCU to do the voices in the cartoon.
Yep.
And more importantly, I'm gonna get on, because this is Wakanda Whiskey and Blurdom, and we stay on our boy Wakanda, our boy T'Challa. RDJ ain't doing MCU movies anymore, because that brother's like, I need $25 million to be on the screen for 10 minutes.
RDJ, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they have another actor doing his voice for Iron Man, because he's a popular character. Does a phenomenal job.
Yep.
Hence, leading to the argument, why the hell can't they bring another actor to do the voice of T'Challa in the freaking multiverse?
They can.
There's absolutely no reason they can't introduce T'Challa in the What If series.
Well, he was introduced already in season 1, and they could just bring him back and have
bring him back. There's no reason in this season they should not have brought back T'Challa. I mean, cool. They brought in my boy John Kanai's son to do T'Chaka again. That's cool. I mean, I enjoyed that, but don't use that as an excuse not to bring back T'Challa.
Yeah.
That's a simple recast T'Challa decision, because it doesn't even affect your stupid ass decision not to recast the character in the MCU, because it's the multiverse. It's What If.
Well, I mean, even that aside, you don't need Chadwick Boseman to voice the character. There are a plethora of other people. Season 2 What If was very good.
A lot of good actors have done T'Challa's voice too.
Yeah,
a lot of good actors.
I did not realize that Keith David, is it David Keith or Keith David? I always get that confused.
Keith David.
Keith David.
David Keith. Shit.
Right, that's confusing, right? Basically, the dude who did the
You
voice
can't
of
trust a dude
Goliath.
with 2 first names anyway.
Right. Keith David, I'm pretty sure that's it. He did the voice of T'Challa at some point.
Right.
I didn't realize that Taye Diggs did the voice of T'Challa at some point. So there have been a plethora of actors to play the voice of T'Challa, Jaimin Hansu being my favorite outside of Chadwick Boseman.
Now, here's a good idea. Bot Boy says Milestone Comics need an animated universe. That's something they had planned 2 years ago when they did the Milestone 2.0 release, and DC had its DC fan day, DC fandom, and they brought in Reggie Hudlin and Dennis Cowan to talk about the fact they're bringing Milestone back. One of the things they talked about is the fact that not only going to do Milestone movies, they're going to do a Milestone cartoon. Specifically, I think it was a static cartoon or something like that. That was something that they were working on with the prior DC administration. Now, DC has undergone a lot of changes in the interim, and there has been no talk about what Milestone's going to do since then, and it breaks my heart to hear that. But yeah, I agree with you.
And Rocket and Young Justice.
I think, look, the What If series proves that you can do animated features that have the same resonance as a live action feature. The budget's smaller, the scale is bigger. You don't have to worry about, I can't do that because of special effects. You have no limitations with animated features.
Yeah.
And people have gotten sophisticated enough, they realize not all this stuff is going to be for kids. You can have adult stuff that's PG-13 rated stuff in an animated feature and have it be cool.
Did you watch the Jon Stewart Green Lantern cartoon?
Of course.
Did you like it?
I did.
I enjoyed it. Not enough people talked about that. I really enjoyed it, and I did not realize until recently that Aldous Hodge did the voice of Jon Stewart.
Did not know that.
Yep.
I did not know that. Bo Big says he's been watching old school 80s Spencer for Hire. Avery Brooks as Hawk was my hero. Man.
Avery Brooks as Hawk was arguably the best, was arguably the coolest TV character ever.
Yes.
Spencer.
Yes. Yes.
Dude was like 27, 28 when he was on Spencer for Hire.
Was he that young? I didn't even realize that. What was cool is, his spin-off series, A Man Called Hawk, which you can catch on Tubi, by the way. Go on Tubi, you can watch A Man Called Hawk. Dope series, former CIA operative guy with a really mysterious background. I swear there were elements of like Black Panther in his background. It just was weird because he had this African element in his background and almost a mystical side. It was his whole background was so surrounded in so much mystery that it just made him that much cooler. The fact that they didn't tell you what his background was, but they give little inklings here and there. Guys would pop up and say, yeah, remember back in the day when we did this? And he had this teacher, this old African teacher who taught him like martial arts and stuff. Spencer was that dude. I mean, Hawk was that dude.
You know what's crazy is that I'm looking at Avery Brooks' IMDb right now. Dude only has 21 credits to his name.
No, he has not done a lot. He's more of a theater guy.
Yeah.
Right now, he's a theater professor. What's interesting is when he took on the role of Benjamin Sisko on Star Trek Deep Space Nine, his last role was that Hawk character. And they're like, we don't want him to people to identify him with Hawk because that whole bald head with the goatee thing is very ethnic.
Unique to him, yeah.
It looked very black, right? And so they had him shave the goatee and grow hair, and that's how he was the first couple seasons. And they finally started to relent on it and said, let the man cook, let the man be himself. Avery Brooks is that dude, let him be himself. And so they let him grow the goatee first on the show, made a deal that no one pushed back on it too bad. And then by the 4th season, he shaved his head and he had the full effect of what he normally looks like.
And I was wrong. He was 37. He was not 27. He was 37.
37.
Yeah.
So, yeah. The fact that Avery Brooks also played my favorite Star Trek captain, Benjamin Sisko, means a lot to me too. I love that dude.
Did you see The Color Purple?
The new one?
Yes.
No.
Me and the fam went to go see it. You're talking about what we watching. Me and the fam went to go see it on Christmas. It is obviously us being around when the original came out, original movie in 86, 85 when it came out. That is the epitome of filmmaking. It was a phenomenal movie, nominated for 11 Oscars, didn't win not one, which is a travesty. This one is a musical based on the stage play from the book, right? From the Broadway show. So it's a musical. It is good. What I did not realize is that Taraji P. Henson can sing. Like, she had a duet with Fantasia who can sing. Taraji held her own in this duet with her. Also, my man Corey Hawkins, a.k.a. Dr. Dre from Straight Outta Compton.
Right.
He can sing, which I had no idea about. He can sing and dance. It's a good movie. I'm not going to give any spoilers. There was something about the ending that I did not like. They had Coleman Domingo play Mister. He has been talked about as being a replacement for Kane. Coleman Domingo can act. Honestly, I think the movie should be nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Taraji P. Henson for Best Supporting, and Coleman Domingo for Best Actor. That's what I think should happen.
Fantasia,
I love her to death. She's fine. She needs some more acting chops. She's not.
Who was the director of the film?
That dude who did the thing. Hold on.
That dude who did the thing that one time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Over at the place.
Yep.
At that time.
You remember? Yep. Hold on, I tell you. Somebody named Blitz Bayswolf. Bayswolf.
I've never heard of that person before.
I'm not joking. Blitz Bayswolf. It's a brother, born in 82. He directed also Black is King, Cherish the Day, The Burial of Kojo. He's directed a lot of stuff that I've never
Black
heard
is King. Is that the Beyonce movie?
Maybe. Let's see. Black is King. Came out in 2020. Yes.
That's the Beyonce movie.
Yes. So I've never seen anything that he's done previously. Peacemaker. You saw Peacemaker, right?
Love Peacemaker.
Peacemaker was great. You know the black chick on there?
Mm-hmm.
She plays not Celie, but Harpo's wife, Ophelia. Miss Sophia? What's her name? Who's the character? Basically, she plays Oprah Winfrey's character.
Right.
In this. She can sing. She can really, really sing. The artist Her, she plays Squeak. There are a couple of cameos that I'm not going to spoil. It was a good movie. I don't know if it's kid appropriate due to some of the themes of it, but you know what the original was about. The great Louis Gossett Jr. plays Mister's dad.
Louis Gossett Jr. was in this movie?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. With his 85-year-old self. Yes. In the original movie, Mister's father was played by Adolph Caesar, who was the drill sergeant in A Soldier Story. Dude was just getting popular, died at 54 years of age, 54, maybe 55. Yeah. He had those two movies back to back and then was just gone. Kind of reminds me of Robin Harris, the comedian, his star was just about to take off and then they're gone, right? But yeah, Avery Brooks is in this.
Let's check out some of these other comments here. Jay says, T'Chaka series, being Black Panther ruler and his relationship with Naomi, T'Challa's mom.
You talking about a cartoon?
Yeah, I mean,
I
could see that, but that would require them to not do a T'Challa series. And quite frankly, right now, I'm still a little sore about that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason they shouldn't do a Black Panther cartoon television series right now. right now. NBA Live Girl says, yeah, I'd love to see an animated Milestone stuff. Indeed. Frustrated says, with Superman and Batman getting ready to fall into the public domain, Milestone will be getting for Focus in the future. What? Superman and Batman gonna fall into? How are they gonna fall into the public domain?
There's like 100-year rule or something like that when it comes to intellectual property of this nature, that once that time period passes, anybody can do whatever, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, because I guess because Superman was created in 1938. So I guess in 15 years, Superman will be in the public domain.
I saw something recently that I think it may be sooner than that, if that's the one that I'm thinking about. But yeah, I don't.
I mean, can't they just do something to buy? I mean, they own all the rights, the trademarks,
yeah,
and stuff to the name. I don't know. Let's see. John Stiles says Static Up All Night was cool. It could be on animation. I have that book here soon. We interviewed Lamar Giles, the writer of that book. I've got it around here somewhere as well. I haven't read it yet, though. It's a big book. Gordon says he agrees on Hawk. Derek wants to know, when does Superman and Batman hit public domain? I kind of want to know that too.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think it's pretty soon.
Movies. Derek says the movie I want to see is The Iron Claw.
So the Iron Claw is based on the wrestling family of the Von Erichs. Fritz Von Erich was a wrestler of the 50s and 60s, and he was a man. And I say that because he had 6 sons, like no girls, nowhere, nearabouts, just straight boys. And his boys entered into the squared circle and became wrestlers, most of them. Unfortunately, his oldest son, as a toddler, died in childbirth. Their family, there's an alleged curse on that family because the oldest son died when he was a toddler. And then of the remaining 5, 4 of the remaining 5 committed suicide or died under mysterious circumstances, which is absolutely crazy. Like, I was a huge Kerry Von Erich fan as a kid.
For John Stiles, who just talked about Static, just dropped my damn mic. Who just talked about Static Up All Night. A book I would suggest that you check out is this one. Vixen NYC. If you like Static Up All Night, I'd recommend this book. It's a printed version of the webtoon series on Vixen, basically showing Vixen as kind of a college student. There's lots of cameos of other characters in there. So if you like Static Up All Night, you should probably like that book too. You should check that out. Cop that. Let's see what else we have here.
Did anybody see Aquaman? Like,
no one's talking about that movie.
Right, that's my point. And it was supposed to be, another $1 billion movie. I have not seen anything about that film.
Frustrated Fan says, I guess it's 2034 for the public domain on Superman and Batman.
Well, you got plenty of time.
DC is moving to get other characters pumping before it hits.
I mean, they got 20 years, so I mean, if that's accurate.
They could just do Icon, man. He's right there.
Yeah.
Gordon says there's an episode of Spencer for Hire I caught where a young Angela Bassett played a relative of Hawk. I think I vaguely remember that.
I remember the episode of The Cosby Show that she played on with her little fine self.
Pericles, Dragon Balls. You told Harpo to beat me all my life. I had to fight. I had to fight my daddy. I had to fight my uncle. I had to fight my brothers.
What was the character's name? God. But Corey Hawkins played Harpo, and then the chick from Peacemaker played the wife, and I just cannot remember the name right now.
They took her directly from the stage to the movie. Sophia.
Is it Sophia? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, she played Sophia. She did a phenomenal job. She did really good.
Pericles doing whole quotes. Girl, child ain't safe in a house full of men. But I never thought I'd have to fight in my own house. I love Harpo. God knows I do. But I kill him dead before I let him beat me.
Yeah.
His brother memorized whole lines out the film. Where's Celia? Fixing the shave, mister.
I would encourage folks to go see that movie.
Everything you done to me, I already done to you.
Yeah.
Adolf Caesar was dope in the original.
He was phenomenal. He was poised for greatness. 23.
So someone from Facebook says 2034 for Superman to go into public domain.
Yeah. So they got 20 years.
And it's 2035 for Batman.
Wow.
Man, check out our chat, man. We ask questions. They actually pull out the Googles.
Right.
And Google it for us. Appreciate you, fam.
One other thing real quick, those Vixen books. If you are into espionage type shows and things of that nature, there is a show called Slow Horses. It's typically between 6 and 8 episodes each. They just finished their 3rd season. Highly recommend Slow Horses. Yo,
what's up, Brian?
Did you see Bass Reeves? Did you watch Bass Reeves?
Bass Reeves. I thoroughly enjoyed Bass Reeves.
For those who don't, let me say this. For those who don't know, if you are familiar with the Yellowstone series, there is a Yellowstone universe that was created by, what's my man's name?
Taylor Sheridan.
Taylor Sheridan.
The man that don't miss.
Taylor Sheridan is a writer extraordinaire. He is the Dick Wolf of Western type stuff, right? If you didn't know, in the first 2 seasons of Sons of Anarchy, he was the deputy sheriff on Sons of Anarchy, right? Well, after he was killed off, in that series, he went into writing. He wrote Sicario. If you've never seen the movie Sicario, you're missing out. He wrote that.
I didn't realize he wrote Sicario too.
He wrote Sicario. Phenomenal movie. He wrote Hell on High Water with Chris Pine and Ben Foster. Phenomenal movie. Then he created the Yellowstone universe that stars Kevin Costner about the Dutton family in Montana. Basically think Dallas, but instead of oil, you're dealing with land and cattle. So he had the modern day Yellowstone. Then he created 2 prequels, 1884 and 1923, I think it is.
Yeah.
That are talking about that family. Well, Bass Reeves is set in the same universe. Bass Reeves was a real life lawman. He was the first federal deputy marshal in my part of the world, in the Oklahoma, Arkansas territories. In fact,
Montana.
He's buried in Muskogee, Oklahoma. The series is about 8 episodes, and it's about basically his life as a formerly enslaved individual who became basically a bounty hunter, for lack of a better term. It's a pretty good series. It stars David Oyelowo, who played in I talked about Jack Reacher a moment ago. He was in the first Jack Reacher movie. He was in the first Planet of the Apes movie. He played Martin Luther King in Selma. He's a Brit. I first became familiar with him in the series MI6, or is it MI5? One of the two. It's MI6, I think it is. That's where I first became familiar with him. He's a very good actor. What I learned while watching the series, David Oyelowo's wife played the wife of his slave owner. Let me say that again. The star of the show, the black man, David Oyelowo, he's married to a white woman. And in the series, his wife basically played his owner, which is kind of crazy. So, yeah.
That was his real life wife?
That's his real life wife.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that till, like I said, I watched it on Christmas Day with my mom. So, I always IMDb shows or whatever as I'm watching them. That is his wife.
She got stuff slapped out of her, too.
And the girl who plays his oldest daughter, she played Serena Williams in King Richard. Did you ever see the series City on a Hill?
No, but I did see that Thorne Identity's in the building.
What's up? What's going on? If you've not seen City on a Hill, A, it's a great series. B, the young lady who was with Aldous Hodge, who played Aldous Hodge in City on a Hill, plays Bass Reeves' wife in this. MI5, thank you, Pericles. MI5 is a great series. 10 episodes. I cannot say enough about that. You got to watch it.
Hey, shout out to Frustrated Fan Show for helping us start with our budget for 2024. Thank you, sir. That goes right into the till, and hopefully it'll help us keep the lights on. And with that, we have our super chat video.
Yeah.
Derek makes it harder and harder to find these things. Derek, this thing's a whole mess, man. You got to clean this stuff up.
Jonathan Majors, what did you think about the verdict? Did you pay attention to any of that?
We really got to talk about this. Do y'all in the chat really want to talk about Jonathan Majors?
Yes. Jonathan Majors' situation was a big deal. It is a big deal, and he's doing his first sit-down interview on ABC, which drops on Monday. Now, let me tell you this. Paul and I are both...
It was all good, bro. It was all good.
Yeah. Paul and I are both attorneys. Paul has moved away from the criminal side about 20 years ago. I'm still
put my whole life story out on the internet. Yeah.
Paul has moved away from that. I'm still enmeshed in the criminal side as a criminal defense attorney. I personally thought that this was pretty much an open and shut self-defense case. It made sense. We've all seen the videos, blah, blah, blah. The fact that the dude was convicted of anything, to me, seems to be a tragedy. And looking at what he was actually convicted of, it didn't make sense.
Did you look up New York's definition of assault?
Right. So here's the crazy thing. What he was actually convicted of was the equivalent of negligence. He was not convicted of intentionally harming her. He was convicted of the equivalent of negligence, right?
I think intent is part of the assault law in New York.
Not with the crime that he was convicted of. And one of the things that I was thinking about in regards to this, thinking about this case, doing defense work, I'm like, there are so many ways that this person could have injured her hand that the defense attorney could have brought out.
Right.
I
don't remember what was the evidence showing that the hand injury stemmed from that particular incident.
Right.
Because I remember seeing pictures of the hand. They're like, there's no swelling of the hand.
That's my point. And they show video and pictures of her clubbing later on where her hand seems to be fine. Right. Now, allegedly, there was testimony or evidence that she was grabbing on, pulling on him. So who's to say that her hand or arm didn't get injured when she was being the primary aggressor, right? The fact that Marvel fired him over a misdemeanor. Now, let's be clear about that. He wasn't convicted of a felony. He was convicted of a misdemeanor. Will he see jail time?
Unlikely.
I don't know, but he can be sentenced to jail for 24 months because he was convicted of 2 misdemeanors. The prosecutor could very well ask for 24 months jail time to run consecutively.
Yeah, but he's got no prior. Assuming he has no prior history, for him to get jail time would be personal.
Let me say this. Plaxico Burress, for those of you who don't know, Plaxico Burress was a football player in the 2000s. He played for the New York Giants. He showed up at a club with a gun in his waistband that went off, didn't injure anybody, it injured himself. He, as a first-time offender, got sentenced to prison. Even though he was charged with a felony, yes, as a first-time offender, to me, he should not have been sent to prison. He got sent to prison.
This is 2 misdemeanors. If assuming he has no prior history, I think jail time is highly unlikely. He'll probably get a couple years of probation, anger management, restitution to the victim for her medical bills for the hand injury and the psychological treatment she's going to require, and he'll pay court costs and a fine. That's probably going to be his sentence. However, understand what this sets up, because Marc talked about the criminal side. I do civil law now. I don't do criminal anymore. The fact that he's going to have a verdict saying that he was guilty of laying his hands on her and causing her damage intentionally or what have you, and the fact that more than likely the judge is going to order restitution. Restitution means you're going to pay them back for the damage that you caused the victim. They're going to use that as evidence for his civil trial. Hopefully they'll do. I mean, it's like, well, you could file a motion to have his criminal stuff not used in a civil trial, but it's Jonathan Majors. This is a big case. Everyone knows that he was convicted. Everyone knows of what he was convicted of. Having that not fall into the ears of a civil jury is just highly unlikely. So the bigger case is actually going to be the civil lawsuit. Jonathan Majors, you're going to have to strap yourself in, buddy. You need to settle this case quick. And the evidence is no longer on your side to settle this case cheaply, because she just needs to file suit and she's automatically going to win.
Here's the thing, though. Paul says the likelihood is that he'll get probation. I disagree with that because, A, this case should never have been brought to trial. It should never have been prosecuted at all. So let's start there. It has been. He has now been convicted. I mentioned the Plaxico Burress situation because, again, here you have a black man who had not harmed anybody except himself, first-time offender, but was sentenced to prison. And like the Deadly Venom said, he shot his own self and did time. Here you have Jonathan Majors. Yes, he has no criminal record whatsoever, but this is New York. And he was convicted of injuring a white woman. The prosecution is probably going to request time, at least 12 months. Whether the judge gives that or not, I cannot say, but this is New York, and it is its own entity. I mentioned this before on Chillmonger's podcast, how about this time last year had a domestic violence case where my client was charged with several felonies. He was acquitted of everything with the exception of a couple of misdemeanors. My guy had an extremely bad record, but the judge thankfully gave him straight probation. In Georgia, I would say without a doubt he would get probation.
In Florida, I'm pretty sure he'd get probation.
In New York, going back to the Plaxico Burress thing, even though it was different, I don't know what New York is going to do, and it causes me some concern. He should not get prison time or jail time because since it's misdemeanor, he would be sentenced to the county jail. Yeah. Should he be sentenced to that with his lack of criminal record? No. Personally, like Paul said, I think he should get 12 months probation, community service, restitution.
To make a point, they'll probably make it 24 months and run the two terms consecutive.
Yeah, probably, and that's because that's what my client got. But again, my client had a horrible record. So, and the fact
that brother's career is
and 2023 was set up to be his year. It is so very frustrating.
His career is gone for the foreseeable future.
For the foreseeable future, for the next 5 to 6 years, which is absolutely.
I mean, well, where's Nate Parker now? Anyone know?
Yeah. For those who don't know,
he wasn't even convicted.
Nate Parker wrote, directed, and starred in the phenomenal Birth of a Nation in 2016, right? Going back to the 90s.
Black slaves rebelling and killing the white man.
Right. Going back to his college days in the late 90s, early 2000s, he was put on trial for raping a white woman and was acquitted. He had been in Hollywood for literally...
Acquitted, as in found not guilty.
Not guilty. He was in Hollywood for 10 years. The Great Debaters, Red Tails, a couple of Beyond the Lights, and a couple of other things before he created Birth of a Nation. Then all of a sudden, when Birth of a Nation came out, all of that old stuff where he was innocent of came out. And then ever since then, he's been pretty much blackballed, blacklisted. And it's unfortunate. And here you have somebody who was convicted, and what's going to happen with their career. The fact that Marvel got rid of him, I have absolutely no interest in Kang anything anymore. Coleman Domingo is a phenomenal actor. He should again be Oscar nominated. But if he is Kang, I'm not going to go watch that because I think that Jonathan Majors has been done wrong in the judicial system. Although I do understand why Marvel did what they did, I don't agree with it, and so I'm not going to see anything Kang related. That's me.
Well, while we were talking about this, I was unpacking some mail calls I got that I'd like to share with y'all. Do you remember the movie with Billy Zane where he played a superhero?
The Phantom.
The Phantom. Quiet as Kept. I actually really enjoyed that film.
That movie was good. It came out in 94, 95?
Was that the year it came out?
Roughly, yeah.
It was a good movie.
It was very enjoyable. Billy Zane should have been a bigger star than he was.
He really should have. So
96.
a lot of black creators. I think there's a few black creators that might have worked on that series over the years. But this was a very unique book I picked up. The Phantom. This is issue number 1. This is by King and Dynamite. I forget what year this came out. It was in the early 2000s. But this is a black Phantom. If you read the story of the Phantom, he really kind of should have been black. Because if you're familiar with the character,
he's a white savior.
He's a white savior trope character. He goes to an island. You're not really sure if it's in a Polynesian island or if it's an African island.
No, he was
but there's dark people there, right? And the white dude goes there. He dons this garb, becomes this hero, and throughout the ages, his children end up taking up the garb. But why? I mean, everyone on the island's brown skin. They're either black or Polynesian, like Samoan or something. And yet all his children are all white. Who's he mating with? I don't know. Maybe he's importing a woman or what have you. Anyway, it never made any sense. But this is a black Phantom. This Phantom is actually Lothar, which is arguably, if you listen to Herschel, the very first black superhero of all time, dating back to the 1930s, 1938 or so. That's this character right here, Lothar.
If you watch the Defenders of the Earth cartoon,
which is where
in the
this,
late
which is
80s,
where this action
early
figure comes
90s,
from.
The Phantom was
Defenders of the
on
Earth.
that cartoon. Defenders of the Earth, turned it the other way. Lothar, it was Lothar, the Phantom, and the Magic Dude. I can't remember his name off the top
Mandrake.
of my head. Mandrake. And they were the
Flash Gordon
too. They were the Defenders of the Earth. And Phantom was in that, but in the series, I want to say he was in Africa. But it was the same, white savior trope. Hey, you put this white man in the deep, dark depths of Africa, and he takes over, and he has powers and abilities that generations of actual Africans had not had. Same thing with Tarzan. Why is it that Tarzan can talk to the animals, but the billions of Africans that live there could not? So this is Phantom was part of that group, that Defenders of the Earth group, the King Entertainment characters of that time period. And so he takes up the garb, the mantle, so to speak, talking mantles. He takes up the mantle of the Phantom because the Phantom dies. And this particular Phantom did not have an heir to take over the mantle. I don't want to give a spoiler, but let's just say there's no heir to the mantle of the Phantom. So Lothar says, it's an important role. I'm going to take on the role until we can find an heir to the throne, so to speak. So that's one of the pickups I had. Another one is something that Marc already has, and ever since he showed it to me, I've wanted it. Wakanda Whiskey and Blurdom. I've had that thing for about 8 years. Where did you find that?
On the internet. It's actually in pretty good condition. I'm never taking it out of this box.
No, never.
I know Marc probably paid $5 for this. I did not, unfortunately. This is the very first, if I'm not mistaken, I think Herschel said so. This is the very first Black Panther action figure of all time.
Yeah. So we got to figure that Black Panther made his first appearance on screen in 2016. I probably bought my action figure probably around 2014, 2015 before he was even announced. So yeah.
Very limited edition. Only 70. It says on the cover on the sticker here. One of 7,500 of these were made.
Let's see.
So pretty happy about that. It's interesting when you read the back. It says T'Challa has no superpowers.
Yeah.
This is before Marvel retconned that and basically declared that, him taking the heart-shaped herb, enhanced abilities, what have you, is actually a superpower, which it is. Saying someone's peak human is, I don't even know what the hell that means. Anyway,
Right now on eBay, you can find that for at least $40. Came out in '98 from Toy Biz.
so right after the priest, right at the time of the priest run.
Right. 52. Yeah. So you're gonna spend at least $40 to get it.
I'm gonna add that to my wall of Black
Yo,
Panther action
check
figures.
this out. Somebody's got a lot, and when I say a lot, I don't mean a lot of them, but 7 Marvel Gold characters that they're selling for $300.
I saw that post.
In that list, there is
Falcon,
Falcon, there
Black
is
Panther,
Black Panther, and Luke
and
Cage.
Luke Cage. Yes.
Electro, I mean, nobody cares about that. Captain Marvel, Black Widow, but Power Man, oh, that's Iron Fist. I'm sorry, I said Electro. I saw the yellow and green. It's Iron Fist, Power Man, Black Widow, Captain Marvel, the white dude, and Falcon. So yeah, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind having that Luke Cage and that Falcon, but I ain't paying $300 just to get those two.
Derek says, "Don't let Herschel get close to that package. You'd be breathing fresh air in seconds." No, this ain't leaving this packaging. The packaging on this is actually in not bad condition considering the age of it. It's over 30 years old. So yeah, I'm gonna hang this up on my wall just as it is. NBA Live Girl asked, "What Black DC character got a figure first?" I don't know the answer to that. One would assume it might be John
Cyborg.
Stewart.
No, I would say Cyborg.
Maybe Cyborg. Yeah,
Cyborg is older. Here's what's crazy. Cyborg is about 15 years younger than T'Challa. We've had 3 live-action versions of Cyborg. But we only have one T'Challa. Yep.
Cyborg is an A-list superhero character, which is another reason why that dude deserves more love, more notoriety, more series, and more character development than what DC's done with him so far.
Cyborg has had a lot of iterations. He has had a lot of press, but I would not say that he is an A-list character because of the fact that your general populace does not know about him. The way I define
I don't know
the way
about that.
I define A-list is if not people who are not in our community, who are not in our nerd community, if they know about the character, can recognize the character, know who they are, know their name, that is an A-list character because they're a part of the cultural zeitgeist. My mom has never read a comic book in her life. She knows who Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Hulk are. Those are A-list characters. She has no idea who Cyborg is. So that's the only reason why I would say he is not an A-list character, despite the fact that he has crossed over several different media. He has had live action, he's been in cartoons, and he has been in print. But I personally would not consider him an A-list character.
All right, let's see. Derek asks a non-comic question. Who here remembers
I don't.
the JJ doll?
Yeah.
Even if I did remember it, why would I want to?
I remember the Mr. T doll, obviously, from the 80s and 90s. Yep, that's it.
Hold on a second. I'm trying to answer. My wife here is texting me.
Well, look, dude, we've been on here for about 2 hours, and that's.
Well, let me just get these last few comments. Hardest figures to get is the Afro Samurai and Thunderball figures. Okay. And someone says Cyborg DC Superpowers line. That might be the first one.
Yeah, that would make sense.
When was the first Black Lightning figure?
I don't know that I've
early 2000s, I think.
I mean, I have his pop.
Cyborg from Challenge of the Super Friends, I think.
Yeah.
Nubia had one in 1976. Good point. I forgot about that.
I had no recollection of that.
Yes, good point. So the Nubia action figure was from the Wonder Woman cartoon series. It was a Mego action figure. If you don't know what a Mego action figure is, you probably don't have many gray hairs. They're the action figures of the 1970s. The figures were like 8 inches tall, and they had clothing, actual
cloth
clothing.
I had Aquaman.
I had a bunch of them. I had Aquaman. I had Batman. I had Captain Kirk. I had Spock. I had Lieutenant Uhura.
Excuse me.
I had Scotty.
Hold on. That Nubia Mego, just take a wild guess how much it is.
No,
just take a guess. Throw out a number.
$600, $800.
That's a good price. 1,000.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
they're not very rare. And what's interesting is that figure came from an episode of Wonder Woman that actually never aired. Guess who was playing Wonder Woman in that episode?
Kathy Rigby?
Jane Kennedy.
Black Jane Kennedy?
Black Jane Kennedy was playing Nubia.
Oh, playing Nubia. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Jane Kennedy filmed a scene for an episode of Wonder Woman.
This one is 1,500.
Yeah.
This is the one from 1976.
Phil Thompson has that in box in very good condition. Yeah, that would technically be DC's first black superhero action figure, I think.
That would make sense.
Although, Herschel would argue she wasn't portrayed as an actual superhero. She was portrayed as more of a villain. I disagree. Let's see. Cyborg from the DC Superpowers line is the most expensive figure, and it's a holy grail for many collectors. I did not know that. Now I gotta look for that. Too bad we didn't get that Cyborg movie. Don't get me started.
I was not.
I was excited for a Cyborg movie.
Yeah, I was not.
Did Black Vulcan have an action figure? Yes, he does, actually. It came out in the early 2000s. Nubia was made by Mego in 1976. Yep. Google it and look at the picture of that JJ doll. It gave my sister nightmares.
The real dude would give you nightmares looking like he looked.
I pulled the string and he said dynamite. Wow. Star Trek. Oh, maybe I think Jeffrey Thorne's saying that he had the Star Trek action. Yeah, I had Lieutenant Uhura. Black Lightning first issue. I have the reissues of that. I had the whole set. I had the Enterprise bridge, which had a transporter in it. It had a little furniture in it.
I remember that.
Captain Kirk's chair.
that.
You could pose the actual Mego figures. They're 8-inch figures, and they could sit in the chairs in the bridge, and you could stick them inside of the transporter, and it had a little turn thing
that you turn. Yep.
You turn. It's in my office right now. I'm looking at it right now, in my little Star Trek section of my office, my comic book room, and it's got the Captain Kirk and Spock figures inside of it. My wife bought it for me several years ago because I had it as a kid. And of course, it was taped together with Scotch tape, and I eventually threw it away because it fell apart. But they reissued it, and it's exactly the same as the one I had when I was a kid. Exact replica. Mego has re-released all those old Mego figures with exact replicas, and they're relatively cheap. You can get a figure for like $20. But those figures were the bomb. I love those figures.
I wish I could find that Aquaman again for a decent price.
Gordon says I had Batman, Robin, and Spock. Yeah, I had a lot of them.
So, hold on. The $6 Million Man was not Amigo.
It was not. That was a 12-inch figure.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the dopest action figures of all time.
Because you could look through his head with his bionic eye.
He had a button on his back where you could press it and move his bionic arm.
Yep.
And more importantly,
mine came with like an engine block or something.
It came with an engine block that he could lift. But more importantly, the bionic arm, you could peel back the rubber skin.
And then and see the mechanics
And
in
see
there.
the
Yep.
mechanics.
Yep.
Man,
See,
that
one
was
of the good things about being an adult and having somewhat of disposable income is you can find this stuff from your childhood that you either had and is no longer with you, or that you couldn't afford as your parents couldn't afford as a kid. Because now I'm going to be looking for that. I'm going to be looking for that and Evil Knievel.
Evil friggin' Knievel.
His son died last year. I didn't know that. Robert Knievel died last year.
Oh yeah, from
Yeah,
what?
but
Jumping,
Evil
jumping
Knievel.
over a
Yep.
Grand Canyon cliff. Michael Thompson, old school comics fan. What are your thoughts on the R&D that is Marvel and DC comics? They have been trashed since the 2000s, and quality of writing and movies are the same.
I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
I mean, some
rewatch
is
any of
good,
our
some is
episodes and you'll
bad.
see our opinions on that. Dothverse also had a $6 million man. That was one of
phenomenal.
the best. You know what I also
$6
had?
Man and the Evil Knievel were the best.
One of the best Christmases I ever had was the Christmas of, I think it was 1981. In that year, Buck Rogers, the 25th Century, came out, and I really wanted his action figure, and my parents got it for me that Christmas. I remember that Christmas very, very clearly.
Gil Gerard is still alive, too.
I love me Buck Rogers.
Yep.
Jeffrey says, we're killing me.
It's
because we're old, bro. We're old like you.
Do you realize we're now past the point in time when Buck Rogers went to the future? You realize that?
Shit. Yeah, you're right.
Yo, we're past the time when Thundar, when the comet or whatever came and damaged the Earth, when Thundar was around.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Yeah, because Buck Rogers, he was in 1997 or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Buck Rogers and Thundar, because I want to say that the thing in Thundar hit around 1999, I want to say.
Wow. That and the Bionic Woman were a different company.
Yeah.
I love me $6 Million Man. That was my favorite hero back in the day.
Lindsay Wagner. Yeah.
Mark, that is the 30-year rule. Whatever was crazy popular and somewhat unattainable with kids 30 years ago will be ultra collectible now.
Absolutely.
Like, for example, the USS flag from G.I. Joe.
What?
That was the most unattainable. You had to be a rich kid back in the 80s to own the USS flag, the aircraft carrier from G.I. Joe, where you could put the Sky Striker and put it on top of it. I asked for that. My parents saw that price tag. It was like $200. I think it was $100.
80s money?
$100 80s money, which is like $300.
That's like $3,000 in American money now.
My parents are like, yeah, no. We ain't got that type of money.
Now I'm curious about Thundar. Like when
the Muhammad Ali figure. I remember the Muhammad Ali figure.
Okay, hold on.
Would be one to get.
Listen, does anybody besides me remember the Muhammad Ali cartoon from the 1970s?
Yeah, I think vaguely.
Yeah. Muhammad Ali, the great boxer, had an actual Saturday morning cartoon like Mr. T did, like Mike Tyson did back around 74. How about the Harlem Globetrotters and the Popcorn Machine? Anybody remember that?
Yes, definitely remember Harlem Globetrotters. Remember the Harlem Globetrotters were superheroes?
Yes, and they like one of them was like a rope. One of them had a basketball
he could turn
head.
into like a rope or a rubbery creature or something.
Yep. Metal Lark Lemon and
Dothverse. Do you guys remember Shogun Warriors? You want to talk about Japanese anime? Shogun Warriors was that thing.
Shogun.
Gordon says he had a $6 million man, Sasquatch, and the vehicle. Damn, Gordon, you must have had money.
Was it a van? Did he have a van? Was it I don't remember the vehicle that he had.
What type of vehicle did Steve Austin have?
I have no independent recollection.
I remember the Sasquatch. I remember the robot guy, the robot villain that had his face that came off. Back to the Future Few was the future of 2015. Yeah. Yep. We're past that.
I can't figure out. Somebody help me out. When was the wasteland? When was the post-apocalyptic thing of Thundar?
Hey, Be Real with D Reels in the house. What's up, brother? We need to get him on the show, man. We need to get
Dude.
D-Real on the show.
1994.
Was what?
It's Thunder the Barbarian.
What?
When the bad stuff happened that caused everything.
Oh! I thought you were this when the show aired. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was the Apocalypse was 1994.
Yes.
Wow.
30 years ago. Jesus Christ, man.
The G.I. Joe space shuttle was $100 when I was young. Damn, yeah.
So that's
that
like
space shuttle was out of my
$5,000
price
now.
range, bro.
Transformers.
I remember I thought I was special just because I had the hovercraft. I said had like I don't still have it. It's in my closet right now. The G.I. Joe hovercraft, the whale. That's one of the best toys of all time. That thing had so many different functions. Had a little sled.
If you are of a certain age, right? Right now, you can pop on any streaming service and you will find no less than 300 different anime titles. And I mean that literally. I'm talking about Freevee, Tubi, Netflix, Hulu, Crunchyroll, etc., etc.
But Jeffrey Thorne makes the point for me right here.
That's what I'm getting into. But if you are of a certain age and you came of age in the 70s and 80s, there was no anime. You had cartoons.
Right.
And there were cartoons that were different than your Scooby-Doos and your, whatever else was Clue Club and stuff like that. You had ones that came from Japan, and we didn't call it Japanimation back then. We called it Japanimation back then. We didn't call it anime. Battle of the Planets, Star Blazers, and Robotech were the three and Captain Harlock was another one. Voltron was another one. I was all about Battle of the Planets, aka G-Force, Star Blazers, and Robotech. You can find all three of these on YouTube right now.
But throw in Captain Harlock and Voltron, and you have the best Japanese anime cartoons of my childhood. Yep. I would personally say of all time, but yeah, those were the best. I love those shows.
Battle of the Planets and Robotech specifically. I was huge into Robotech.
Robotech was my personal favorite.
Robotech was my personal favorite, followed by Battle of the Planets, and then Star Blazers.
In that order. Yep. Those were the top three.
There was Captain Harlock, and then there was another one about a spaceship, like a battleship. Was it Battleship Yamato?
Yamato. Space battleship cruiser Yamato.
So was that something different from Captain Harlock because the ships looked
No, it was kind of, it's still like Robotech thing where you have different names for the same thing.
Okay. But no, Battle of the Planets, like I wanted to be, because my name is Marc, I wanted to be Marc in that show so bad. I wanted that outfit. I wanted to be able to fly. Oh. You know what's crazy though? You remember Battle of the Planets? Silverhawks is basically Battle of the Planets. When you look at the
characters, but I never liked Silverhawks for one simple reason. These guys flew around in space with no mask on, like they could breathe in space. That irritated the hell out of me.
Yeah, Silverhawks was basically
G-Force in space.
No. What's Thundercats? Silverhawks was basically Thundercats in space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Louisiana Kid says, "I still want that USS flag to this day."
Cost for about $5,000. You can have it
to this day. Still want that thing, man. Man, I have no room for that thing. That thing was massive. That aircraft carrier was massive. Even by
I think I remember seeing it. Like it was like 2 to 3 feet long. Something.
It was longer than that. It was massive because you could put the Sky Striker jet fighter, which is F-14 Tomcat, and that's big in and of itself. And this thing fit on top of that. Jeez. This was like the size of a table. It was huge. I have no room in here for something like that. Dude, if I bought that, my wife would be like, "Where the hell are you going to put that?"
If I've been telling you for years, you just need to move to that other room.
That's not going to happen.
I know, but it should.
Let's see. When will someone make the live action Silverhawk? Nobody wants that.
Don't want it.
What was supposed to be live action was Robotech. Toby Maguire was going to work on a live action Robotech. Never happened. You don't want a live action Robotech?
No, because they're gonna fuck it up.
Nah, dude, with the special effects they have today, they can do that thing sweet.
Yeah, the story would be fucked up. I'm not talking about the graphics or the CGI. The story would be messed up.
Frustrated fan says, I remember the Globetrotters were in Scooby-Doo. Yeah.
Everybody showed up on Scooby-Doo. No, but they had their own cartoon.
Gotcha, man.
Gotcha, man.
Yeah, man.
That was its own thing too, right?
Gotcha Man was in essence G-Force.
Right.
That was the name for G-Force.
G-Force, Battle of the Planets.
Battle of the Planets,
right.
all the same thing. They would just had different names for it.
What was the one? Was it Robo Boy? The short robot?
Yeah, it was something like that. Robo Boy, something like that.
Something, yeah.
Maskatron was Steve Austin's. Oh, good God, y'all are making me just have some memories. Big Jim and the Wolfpack.
Yes,
do you remember
somebody knows who that is. Shout out to G-Town.
Oh my God, Big Jim!
Some back issues, and I saw the ad for it. I took a picture of it. I have it in my phone because nobody other than me and G-Town remember that.
Here's the thing, everyone. The cool thing about these things that we're talking about is if you read comic books from the 1970s, the ads for everything that we're talking about were in those comic books.
Yep,
that's something that we don't have in comic books today anymore. Is the ads of the era? They had ads for all of these things we're talking, all the cartoons,
Saturday morning cartoons. Yep,
the toys. They were all advertised in these comic books back in the day. Whenever you read these older comics, it's like going back in history.
Shit.
Big Jim always reminded me of
G.I. Joe, basically,
of Billy Jack,
because he had the. Well, no, it wasn't him. It was one of his crew had the hat. Yes.
Yeah.
And I had the picture, but I must have deleted
Great
it.
Mazinga with the rocket fingers and hands. Yeah, man. Shogun Warriors, man. Derek says, I'm a little behind you guys, but remember Ultraman, Speed Racer, Star Blazers, Tranzor Z.
I don't remember Tranzor Z.
Tranzor Z it wasn't Shogun Warriors, it was Shogun Warriors like in Voltron. Who had Micronauts?
No, I remember the name, but I didn't know.
I remember the Micronauts in the 70s, man, in the early 80s. Great comic book too. Science fiction comic book.
Big Jim and the Wolf.
Earth was struck by a meteor in 1994.
Right.
Robotech.
No.
Wait.
Thundar.
What was that?
Thundar.
But 1994 was also the year that the SDF-1 landed in Macross.
Was it?
I think it was 94.
That I don't remember.
It's in 94 or 97. It was somewhere around there.
94.
Opening was fire. Galaxy Rangers.
Galaxy Rangers. I have that saved on YouTube as well. Yep.
That's the thing. All these cartoons we're talking about, a lot of them are on YouTube.
Yep.
A lot of them are on YouTube. In fact, they have channels that are dedicated purely to Saturday morning cartoons that we grew up with, where they put episodes like entire. I don't know how they did this, but they I guess it was a rich person who had a VCR back then, and they recorded like 6 hours of like Saturday morning television. Right. So you could literally relive your childhood, get yourself a big bowl of popcorn.
Bowl of cereal. Yep.
Big bowl of cereal. I said popcorn. Big bowl of cereal. Sit down and watch 6 hours of Saturday morning cartoons, and then go ahead and put Kung Fu Theater on, because that's what followed.
Marine Boy. I don't remember that. Speed Racer, of course. Yes. Remember that?
I like the Ronin Warriors.
I wasn't into Ronin Warriors at all.
Tranzor
I have no independent recollection of
Ray Dean. That was one of the wasn't that one of the Shogun Warriors? Star Blazers.
Star Blazers was that shit. Yes.
Yeah, Star Blazers
was. Shit. Like I said, it's on YouTube right now.
Transformers animated movie. The Transformers animated movie and the G.I. Joe movie with Serpentor. Those were some films.
Was that dude, man. Serpentor was that dude. Robotech was the best. Yes, it was.
Robotech was the best.
Like
in fact,
I said,
I was just messing with my Robotech DVDs the other day when I was cleaning up in here a little bit, and I was like, "Damn, I got to rewatch this because I have them all on DVD, the entire series."
I have them on DVD too, but like I said, they're on YouTube.
But Do you also have Robotech Sentinels?
I don't think I do. Pretty sure I don't.
There you go. There's also, if you're a fan of Robotech, there was a movie that was released in the early 2000s called Robotech: The Shadow War, I think it was called, which was a continuation after the third season of Robotech, the Generations run. And it was a movie called Robotech: The Shadow War. It had Scott Bernard in it. Only my Robotech fans know what the hell I'm talking about. But check that movie out. Translord Z was like a poor man's Voltron.
Yeah, I have no independent recollection of that.
Robotech was a war love story.
It
The
was.
first season was definitely.
Listen, I've been watching it recently, like the past 2 to 3 weeks or whatever. Min-May was an airhead, man. But then again, she was like 14, 15 years old. But she was a bubblehead.
Yeah, and she was a waste of time too. I'm
Yeah.
glad he went on to Lisa instead.
Yamamoto was Star.
Yamato was Star Blazers. Okay.
I watched season 1 of Star Blazers. It's about 18, 20 episodes.
Ultraman was
And
awesome.
I watched that recently.
D-Real Dothverse, Guy King was my dude.
I have no.
D-Real just revealed recently that he's actually born in 1967. Brother looks really good for his age. He's older than I am.
He's older than dirt.
Michael Thompson, Speed Racers, Stargazers, I guess he meant Star Blazers, and Robotech.
Yep.
All Will Wright repackaged.
It was like 9
Jeffrey Thorne. Robotech was like 9 different series repacked and edited into Robotech for Americans. It really was.
True. That's absolutely true. And they did a phenomenal job with it, because we wouldn't have never known that until, modern times when we learn about these things.
Oh, we have an answer on the Steve Austin vehicle. The Bionic Mission vehicle. It was an aerodynamic white van with a handle in the back. Why don't I remember that? You're gonna have to Google that.
Yeah, because I have
$6 million man vehicle.
Wait. Did it look like a rocket ship and that it opened up like a space station kind of? Was that it? Because that kind of rings some bells.
I don't know. Silverhawks were cyborgs.
Yes, they were.
Silverhawks were ass. I didn't like Silverhawks. And the token black Silverhawk, voiced by Adolf Caesar, was named none other than what?
Hot Wing.
Hot Wing. I mean,
you know how you colors like them hot wings.
I couldn't stand Silverhawks. I really couldn't.
I liked them.
I couldn't stand Silverhawks.
7 feet long? Jesus.
The aircraft carrier was 7 feet long. I'm 6'1". This thing was taller than me. It was massive. I literally have no space for that thing in here.
Not in there.
Even when I was a kid, I didn't have space for that. My parents wouldn't let me a 7 foot long thing.
I don't.
Micronauts, Time Traveler, Space Glider, and Acroyear all chilled in my battle cruiser. Still have my Force Commander. Wow.
Okay, so here is the
body. Oh, your little robot guy, Astro Boy.
Astro Boy, yes. So this is the vehicle, the $6 million man vehicle. I have no independent recollection of that. I don't remember that at all.
I don't remember that at all. I absolutely don't remember that.
Yeah, I have no independent recollection of that.
I still got my Steve Austin figure somewhere in the box somewhere.
Oh, that's cool.
And the outfit's probably all eaten away by moths and stuff.
I'm looking at this vehicle. I don't remember it.
You guys ever watch Lock the Superman?
No.
Lock the Superman.
I think Mario's on that good shit, because I think he just made that up.
My show was Galaxy Express $9.99.
Don't remember that.
I don't think I'm familiar with that one.
Astro Boy, yeah. It was Astro Boy.
Science Ninja Team Gotcha Man. That was AKA G-Force. AKA Battle of the Planets. Michael Thompson, I agree. Story of Silverhawks would be a bad. Big Jim was a toy line, yeah.
Yep.
Rom the Space Knight.
Okay, so here's the thing. Paul used to be into Rom a lot, right?
I never had a Rom action figure, by the way.
Right.
Which I'm still bitter about to this day.
Paul was into the Rom comic books. And I used to go to, there's a bookstore here called the Book Nook. And in the Book Nook, they have like long box after long box that they sell for 50 cents each, right? And I would go up there periodically, like on a Saturday, spend literally like 3 to 4 hours just going through some of the back issues, trying to find plug holes in mine. And every time I found a ROM comic book because I knew he liked it, I'd pull that stuff out. So yeah, but this is before we became familiar
John
with
Styles talking about the Spider-Man from the 70s with Peter. What was the actor who played
he
John
was
something Hammond? Eric Hammond, something like that.
Something like that. He was in The Sound of Music. And
yes, he played one of the Von Trapp children.
Chip Fields was in that series as Betty Brant, I think. I think that was her.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're absolutely correct.
So that was Kim Fields' mom. Kim Fields from Living Single. Her mom was an actress. She's the one who put an iron to Janet Jackson in Good Times. That's Chip.
Gotcha Man has a soundtrack produced by Earth, Wind, and Fire's Maurice White. What? I've never heard of that.
I've never heard that before in my life.
Anyone heard of remember Voltron with the cars? Yeah, I remember Voltron with the cars, but it was always inferior to the one. The Lions was the best one, man. The Lions were the
first one, right?
Yeah, Lions were the first one. Also, Netflix, their remake of Voltron, that shit slapped. That was a good series. The Eighth Man. Tranzor Z was basically Great Mazinga. That's true. That's facts. I have both the Lion and Vehicle Voltron complete series on DVD. Okay, Derek. Now that's a minor flex. Warpath had the Billy Jack head.
Right. And Big Jim and the Wolfpack. And then there was a bald-headed dude. There was a dude who looked like Shorely from G.I. Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's crazy is that most of those cartoons as a kid is awful.
Hey, watch your mouth. No, it's not. Damn it.
Wacky Races. Remember that? Oh my God.
Of course. With Penelope Pitstop and God, y'all are old.
Four Deadly Venoms. Kung Fu Theater.
Okay,
Saturdays were crazy.
Where I'm from, I'm not familiar with Kung Fu Theater like that because what would happen is you would watch cartoons from 6 in the morning Central to 12 Central. Then at 12, wrestling came on. And then after wrestling, you had Tarzan, and then you had what's the dude? Not Wild World of Sports, but that one came on too. But where the dude was out there,
Howard Cosell.
No, that too. That was ABC, I think. But the dude who was always out there wrestling lions and tigers and bears, Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. While Lawrence Perkins was safely ensconced in the studio, Jim was out there wrestling a 30-foot python and stuff. Yep. And then you watched Lawrence Welk, Fantasy Island, and...
So you didn't have Kung Fu Theater? Not
on TV. Not on TV.
After our 12 to 1 wrestling, we had Kung Fu Theater for the rest of the afternoon.
Yeah, no, I don't remember that. You guys remember Banana Splits?
Man, no, I don't remember Banana Splits.
Oh, Banana Splits, yes. Banana Splits, the Monkeys.
I don't remember that. Wheeled Warriors, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I still watch old school Shaw Brothers. Man, Shaw Brother Kung Fu movies were oh my God.
I mean, you can find all that stuff now online.
All that's on YouTube.
On stream. Well, not just YouTube, but on streaming. Yeah.
Yeah. Nemesis Enforcer from the G.I. Joe movie was a whole dog. Gave the Joes that work. Yes,
I don't remember him.
Yeah. Dothverse was born in 66.
Did they have electricity in 66? Indoor plumbing? It would be real. That's funny,
bro. You look good. You look good for your age, for your old ass age. Man, I remember back in the day when the animated Transformers movie came out. I didn't watch it, and then when the new season started, I was lost.
It was rough.
Didn't know who Rodimus Prime was.
I to this day have not completed that Transformers movie.
What?
Yes, I know. It's in my queue on YouTube. I just haven't sat down and finished watching it.
Man, Rodimus was that
Animated
dude.
Giant Robot live action.
Black
Yeah.
don't crack. You be you. Hey, Jeff Thorne is out.
Hey, take care, man. Take care. Anyway, we have been on here for a long time, man. It's going on 2.5 hours. So I'm getting kind of tired. But anyway, hey, all you guys, thanks for joining us.
Oh, Nicholas Hammond was the name of the actor.
Yep, Nicholas Hammond.
Glory Grant was the name of the Chip Fields character.
Ah, okay.
And just scrolling through the last of these here. What if I told you that I also have the complete Star Blazer series on disc somewhere? Screw you, Derek.
Yeah, like I said, it's on YouTube. It's all on YouTube.
Black Belt Theater in the Midwest. So where you were was called Black Belt Theater. Because
like
you grew up in Oklahoma.
I have no recollection of watching it at all.
Oh, we got a shout out. Thank you.
Yes,
for my
good,
dad,
right?
the bounty hunter.
It was very, very good, especially the second season.
Real life Wakanda.
Holly from Land of the Lost was my first crush. Used to love her in those corduroys. Yep.
Okay, that's just weird.
No, it's not.
Arabian Nights cartoon.
Yes. And Jan Michael Vincent, God rest his soul, was on one of those live action shorts that was on Banana Splits.
What about Electric Company, Spider-Man, HR Puffin stuff?
Yep.
I showed HR Puffin stuff to my daughter, and there was a new version of HR Puffin stuff that's called a different name now. And my daughter was watching that show. I think it was a cartoon version, and I showed her the original, which was HR Puffin stuff, and blew her mind. It actually scared her because, in retrospect, HR Puffin stuff is actually a very scary looking character.
Yeah. Sigmund and the Sea Monsters.
Sigmund and the Sea Monsters, another thing that was very scary. Yep. Scariest thing as a kid for me? Yes.
Vegetables? I don't know.
What? No. The television shows we used to watch. Land of the Lost.
Love the Slee Stacks. The Slee Stacks were scary. The Slee Stacks.
Look, them Slee Stacks scared the crap out of me. The sounds that they made.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Chaka.
What? As we're going out, Frustrated Fan Show with the super chat, man. Thank you. Appreciate that, bro.
Man, going down memory lane, that was fun. But anyway, guys, I gotta get out of here because I'm getting sleepy. But those of you guys who joined us on the live, thank you very much. As always, it's been fun. There's a lot of things you could be doing on your Friday night instead of watching a couple of old dudes talk about comic books and reminiscing about stuff in the 1970s when gas was 72 cents a gallon. But thank you. Hope everybody has a great new year, and we will see you next time.
I can't even find the closing thing because Derek has this thing completely all messed up. So it's a generic closing. But thank each and every one of you for spending time with us. It's Friday night. You guys can spend time with anything, watching anything, but you spent it with us, and we appreciate you. Until next time, peace.